Right now, the skills you are learning might be silently killing your future income potential.
Most people are preparing for a world that is already disappearing faster than they realize.
The real opportunity is shifting towards skills that directly create money, leverage, and control.
Welcome to Upstride, Unity, where smart people learn real strategies, think sharper, and spot opportunities others miss.
This is not another generic list of skills you should casually consider learning.
This is a breakdown of skills that actually produce outsized income in today's economy. And more importantly, these skills will still matter when everything else becomes automated or irrelevant. Let's start with something most people completely misunderstand about making money online today.
The first skill is not about creativity. It is about making decisions easier for customers.
Skill number 15 is conversion-focused design, and it directly impacts how money flows in businesses. Most people think design is about making things visually appealing, but that is not where money is made. The real value comes from removing friction so customers can complete actions without confusion or hesitation. This is where most businesses lose money without even realizing what is actually happening. When checkout flows are confusing, people leave, and that directly reduces revenue instantly.
Studies show that over 70% of shopping carts are abandoned before completing purchase decisions. Why? Now here's where the opportunity starts to appear for people who understand this properly. Improving checkout experience alone can increase revenue by over 30% without increasing traffic. Companies like Amazon and Airbnb became dominant because they optimized experience, not just visual appearance. Once you understand how to guide decisions, you stop relying on luck and start engineering outcomes. And once outcomes become predictable, the next skill becomes significantly more valuable. Skill number 14 is being likable and charismatic in high-value interactions and environments.
Most people believe intelligence is what drives success, but that is not what actually converts opportunities. People buy from those they trust, not necessarily from those who are technically more skilled. This is where many people unknowingly limit their income growth without realizing the root cause. If you fail to build trust, even great ideas struggle to turn into real opportunities. But when people feel understood, they become naturally more willing to support your success. Research consistently shows that being boring actually reduces your earning potential significantly over time. The real advantage here is that this skill is completely learnable with deliberate effort and awareness. And once trust scales beyond individual interactions, something more powerful begins to form naturally.
Skill number 13 is audience and community building, which multiplies your reach and influence.
Money follows attention, but most people struggle because no one knows they even exist. This is one of the most common hidden problems in modern digital businesses today. You don't need millions of followers to build something valuable and sustainable long-term. A small group of loyal people can generate consistent income if they trust your work deeply. This is where many creators make a mistake by chasing reach instead of building real connection. An audience gives you visibility, but a community gives you loyalty and long-term stability. And loyalty becomes extremely valuable because it creates predictable income streams over time.
But attention alone is not enough to create real differentiation in a competitive market. This is where the next skill becomes more important than most people expect.
Skill number 12 is taste, and it determines how people perceive everything you create.
Most people underestimate taste because it feels subjective, but it directly affects decision-making behavior. In a world where AI makes production easier, differentiation becomes the real competitive advantage. When everything looks similar, People choose based on feeling, not logic or technical superiority. This is where strong taste creates a clear separation between average work and premium positioning. It is not random, and it develops through exposure, observation, and consistent refinement over time. People use products and brands to signal identity, status, and belonging within specific groups. When your work aligns with those signals, it becomes easier to attract the right audience. And once you understand perception, the next skill allows you to capture even more value. Skill number 11 is negotiation, and it directly impacts how much you earn from the same effort. Most people avoid negotiation because they associate it with conflict, which limits their income significantly. But negotiation is not conflict. It is clarity under pressure during important decision moments.
The difference between average and exceptional income often comes down to uncomfortable conversations.
If you can control emotions and understand people, you can extract better outcomes consistently.
This is where small improvements in skill can create massive differences in financial results. Even a single negotiation can change the outcome of a deal by millions of dollars. And once you learn to extract value effectively, the next skill accelerates your growth further. Skill number 10 is growth hacking, and it determines how fast your results actually scale. Most people think growth comes from working harder, but that approach quickly reaches natural limits. Real growth comes from identifying small changes that create disproportionately large long-term results. This is where many people waste time doing more instead of doing what actually moves outcomes. Growth hackers focus on removing friction instead of adding unnecessary effort across the entire system. When friction disappears, processes become faster, smoother, and significantly more efficient over time. This is where businesses suddenly jump forward, while others slowly struggle to catch up. Instead of linear progress, growth becomes exponential when the right variables are optimized correctly. And once you understand growth systems, the next skill helps you evaluate opportunities more accurately. Skill number 9 is financial modeling and investment analysis, which sharpens decision-making under uncertainty. Many people assume artificial intelligence will replace this skill entirely, but that assumption is incorrect. AI can process data quickly, but it still cannot replace judgment in complex decision environments. The real value is understanding what the numbers actually mean and what actions should follow. This is where poor decisions quietly destroy wealth without people noticing the long-term impact. If you misread risk, you end up investing time and money into the wrong opportunities. But when you interpret data correctly, you begin making decisions that compound over time. This skill trains you to evaluate whether something is truly worth pursuing or not. And once you can judge reality clearly, the next skill helps you create real value consistently.
Skill number 8 is product development, which determines whether people actually want what you build.
Most people rely on marketing to sell average products, but that strategy has clear limitations. Strong products reduce the need for aggressive marketing because they create natural demand. This is where many businesses fail by focusing on promotion instead of improving the core experience. Companies like Dyson built entire categories simply by making products significantly better than competitors. They didn't rely on hype, they relied on consistent improvement until the difference became obvious. This approach creates long-term value because customers can clearly feel the improvement themselves. And when the product is strong, scaling becomes easier and more sustainable over time. But even great products need one more critical element to succeed in real markets. Skill number 7 is distribution, and it controls how your value reaches actual customers. Most people underestimate distribution, but it often determines success more than product quality itself.
You can have a great product, but without access to customers, it simply does not matter. This is where many founders struggle because they focus only on creation, not delivery.
Companies like Coca-Cola dominate because they control distribution across global markets consistently. Netflix succeeded not because of better content, but because of a superior delivery model. Distribution creates access, and access directly translates into revenue and long-term market dominance. Once you control how value flows, the next skill determines how people perceive that value.
Skill number 6 is marketing, and it shapes how people interpret what you are offering.
Most people think marketing is just advertising, but that is a shallow understanding of its role. Marketing is about understanding people deeply enough to make them feel seen and understood.
This is where businesses either connect with customers or completely fail to capture attention.
If people do not care, nothing else matters, regardless of product quality or pricing. Great marketing reframes value so that people understand why something is worth choosing. It influences perception, and perception directly affects buying decisions across all industries. And once you can shape perception effectively, the next skill gives you real leverage.
Skill number 5 is advanced coding and technical architecture, and it defines how scalable your systems can become.
Most people think coding is only for engineers, but it has become a leverage tool across multiple industries. If you understand how systems are built, you gain the ability to automate, scale, and control outcomes efficiently. This is where many people become dependent on others because they do not understand how things actually work. Companies like Google and Meta dominate because they control the underlying systems that power everything. Even basic technical understanding gives you an advantage in a world increasingly driven by automation. This skill allows you to build tools instead of just using them, which changes your position completely. And once you understand systems deeply, the next skill determines how you use that power effectively.
Skill number 4 is sales, and it determines whether ideas actually turn into real income.
Most people avoid sales because they feel uncomfortable asking for money directly. But sales is simply the process of helping someone make a confident decision.
Without this skill, value remains unrealized regardless of how good your product or service is. This is where many talented people struggle because they focus only on creation and ignore conversion.
If you can communicate value clearly and handle objections effectively, your results improve immediately. Sales is where revenue is created, and improving this skill has a direct impact on your financial outcomes. And once you can convert opportunities consistently, the next skill multiplies your overall impact.
Skill number 3 is copywriting, and it controls how words influence decisions at scale.
Most people underestimate words, but they shape perception more than visuals in many situations. A single sentence can change how someone interprets an offer, instantly. This is why strong messaging consistently outperforms weak communication, even with similar products. Great copy removes doubt, increases clarity, and builds trust quickly in competitive markets. If you can control how people think through language, you gain an advantage across multiple industries. This skill applies to sales pages, advertisements, emails, and every form of communication. And once you understand persuasion deeply, the next skill helps you structure everything more effectively.
Skill number 2 is decision-making, and it determines how effectively you use everything you have learned so far.
Most people do not fail because of lack of information. They fail because they choose incorrectly under pressure. This is where many people lose time, money, and momentum without fully understanding why. Good decision-making is not about guessing. It is about evaluating trade-offs and thinking clearly. If you can stay calm and analyze situations logically, you reduce costly mistakes significantly. This skill compounds over time because every correct decision improves your future position. And once you learn to choose correctly, the final skill determines how you execute consistently.
Skill number 1 is building and scaling businesses, which combines all previous skills into leverage.
This is where individual skills turn into systems that generate income without direct involvement. Instead of working for income, you build structures that produce income continuously. This is where opportunities multiply, because you are no longer limited by personal capacity. If you have built something successfully before, you can repeat the process much faster. Experience compounds, and each new venture becomes easier to execute with better judgment.
This is why business builders operate at a completely different level of financial potential.
They combine product, distribution, marketing, and systems into a single cohesive engine. And once that engine is running, growth becomes a matter of optimization, not survival. But there is one final layer that quietly amplifies everything you have seen so far. Personal branding acts as a multiplier across every single skill on this list. When people trust your name, opportunities begin to come to you instead of chasing them. Your reputation becomes an asset that works in the background of everything you do. This reduces friction, increases trust, and accelerates growth across all areas simultaneously. Instead of starting from zero each time, you build on an existing foundation of credibility.
This is where many people underestimate the long-term impact of visibility and consistency.
Because once trust is established, everything else becomes easier to execute and scale.
And this is where the real shift happens, from effort to leverage.
If you look at everything we covered, a clear pattern starts to emerge.
The highest paying skills are not random. They are connected through leverage and control.
They either help you create value, distribute value, or capture value more effectively.
Most people stay stuck because they focus on tasks instead of systems and outcomes.
But once you shift your focus toward leverage-based skills, everything starts to change. Your income potential expands, your options increase, and your decisions become more strategic.
And that is the difference between reacting to the economy and shaping your position within it.
Subscribe to Upstride if you want real strategies, sharper thinking, and opportunities most people miss.